Procrastination is theft. It doesn't knock on the door. It doesn't announce itself. It slips in quietly, disguised as rest, disguised as "I'll do it later," disguised as harmless delay. And before you realize it, it has stolen your time, your opportunity, your momentum, and worst of all, your self-respect. Every minute you spend putting something off is a minute stolen from your mission. It's a moment you'll never get back. You say you'll start tomorrow, but how many times have you already said that? How many days have turned into weeks? How many plans are still written in notebooks instead of reality? You're not just wasting time, you're training yourself to be weak. Every time you choose comfort over execution, you're building the habit of avoidance. You're strengthening the muscle of hesitation. And that muscle will choke out every ambition you ever had. Because success doesn't come to the ones who think about it. It comes to the ones who act. The ones who don't wait for the perfect moment because they know there's no such thing. Procrastination tells you to wait until you're ready, but you're never truly ready. Readiness is an illusion. Discipline is the weapon. You must act when it's hard. You must move when it's inconvenient. You must rise when your body says rest. That's the difference between those who talk and those who do. The winners, the warriors, they don't let procrastination in the door. They treat every task like it matters. Because it does. You see, procrastination is the enemy wearing your clothes. It sounds like your voice. It uses your logic. It whispers that 5 more minutes won't hurt, that skipping one day is okay. But it's never just one day. It's never just 5 minutes. It builds, it grows, and soon you're months behind where you should have been. Not because you weren't capable, but because you let time slip away one excuse at a time. There's nothing more painful than wasted potential, knowing deep down that you could have been more, that you should have done more, that the only reason you're not where you want to be is because you didn't start or you didn't finish. That's what procrastination leaves behind, regret. And regret is a weight far heavier than any discipline. So when you feel it creeping in, that urge to delay, to postpone, to push it to tomorrow, recognize it for what it is. It's a thief, and the only way to stop it is with immediate, decisive action. Get up, do the work, not later, now. Comfort is a slow, silent killer. It doesn't announce its presence with pain or chaos. It lulls you softly, gently into mediocrity. It wraps around you like a warm blanket, convincing you that ease is the goal. But what it really does is weaken you quietly, day by day, inch by inch. Comfort convinces you to stop pushing. It tells you that you've earned the right to rest, to slow down, to stop striving. And when you listen, your edge starts to dull. You stop waking up early. You skip the hard workout. You put off the uncomfortable conversation. You accept good enough, instead of demanding the best from yourself. That's comfort talking, and it's dangerous, because comfort isn't just the absence of effort, it's the enemy of progress. Growth only happens at the edge of your limits. You have to stress the muscle to make it stronger. You have to challenge the mind to make it sharper. But comfort fights against all of that. It tells you to take the shortcut, to stay where it's safe, to avoid the fire when the fire is exactly where you forge yourself. Most people don't fail because of some dramatic disaster. They fail because of consistent inaction, because of the slow decay that comes from living a life too easy. The comfort zone becomes a cage. You stay inside because it's familiar, because it's painless. But eventually, you look around and realize that you've stopped moving forward. You've stopped growing, and worse, you've stopped fighting. That's the death that comfort brings, not instant, but slow and quiet and lethal. You don't need everything to be easy. You need resistance, you need struggle, you need discomfort. That's how warriors are built. That's how leaders are made. You earn confidence, strength, and grit through the battles you choose to fight every single day. You become powerful not by avoiding stress, but by mastering it. Comfort says sleep in, but discipline says rise. Comfort says take a break, but purpose says push. Comfort says stay where it's warm, but greatness is forged in the cold, in the dark, in the unknown. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you trade your potential for pleasure, and that trade always leads to regret. If you want to build something real, if you want to become something powerful, then you must go to war with comfort. You must reject it. You must seek the discomfort, the discipline, the grind, because while comfort slowly kills, discomfort builds. And the more you learn to embrace it, the more alive and unstoppable you become. Excuses are lies. They may come wrapped in logic, wrapped in reason, dressed in justification, but at their core, they are lies. Lies we tell ourselves to feel better about avoiding the hard thing. Lies we whisper to dodge accountability. They protect your ego, not your growth. They defend your weakness, not your strength. Every time you make an excuse, you're not avoiding the failure, you're accepting it. You're letting yourself off the hook when you should be pulling yourself harder toward the mission. You say you don't have time, but you do. You just didn't make it. You say you're too tired, but energy comes from discipline, not rest. You say you don't know how, but the truth is you haven't tried hard enough to learn. Every excuse is a defense of your comfort, not your commitment. It's a shield against pain, against responsibility, against truth. And the longer you live behind those excuses, the further you drift from the life you say you want. Excuses feel good in the moment. They ease the guilt. They let you sleep longer, quit earlier, care less. But they always come with a cost. That cost is your potential, your progress, your pride. Excuses rob you of ownership. They rob you of the one thing you actually control: your effort. You can't always control the outcome, but you can control what you give. Excuses say, "It's not my fault." Discipline says, "Even if it's not my fault, it's still my responsibility." People who succeed don't live in excuses. They live in ownership. They don't talk about how hard it is. They do the work anyway. They don't focus on what they don't have. They use what they do have relentlessly. They don't wait for the right time. They make the time right. That's the mindset of a warrior. That's how you build discipline. You silence the voice that looks for an exit. You shut down the part of your mind that searches for an excuse to stop. And you go. The truth is, the work doesn't care about your excuses. The weights don't care. The clock doesn't care. The goal doesn't care. You either execute or you don't. You either move forward or you don't. Life rewards action, not intention. Results don't respond to reasons. They respond to work. So look in the mirror and be honest. Are you making progress, or are you making excuses? Are you hungry, or just pretending to be? Excuses are easy, ownership is hard, but only one leads to strength. Only one leads to transformation. The other keeps you stuck, soft, and weak. Stop lying to yourself. You're not out of time, you're out of excuses. You want it, prove it, not with words, not with reasons, with action. Relentless, disciplined action. That's how you kill excuses. That's how you win. Avoiding pain is avoiding growth. Pain is the price of progress. It's the cost of change, of development, of becoming someone stronger, sharper, better. But most people run from it. They fear it. They avoid it like it's poison, when in truth it's the medicine. Growth doesn't happen in ease. It happens in resistance. It happens when you're stretched, tested, broken down, and rebuilt. That's how the body grows. That's how the mind sharpens. That's how the spirit is forged. But instead we hide. We hide behind comfort. We run from hard conversations. We dodge failure. We stay in safe places, do the easy work, live predictable lives. Why? Because the pain of uncertainty, the sting of discomfort, the weight of effort, it scares us. It's hard, but guess what? That's exactly where the transformation is. You want to be mentally strong. You want to be physically unbreakable. Then you need to stop running and step directly into the fire. Pain is the process. Without it, you don't grow, you stay soft. You stay stuck. You stay the same. And if you're not growing, you're dying, slowly, quietly, inside. You think you're avoiding pain, but what you're really doing is avoiding your own potential. The pain of showing up, the pain of discipline, the pain of being rejected, the pain of failing forward. That pain has a purpose. It teaches, it carves character, it burns away weakness. You don't get stronger by lifting what's light. You get stronger by lifting what hurts. You don't get braver by playing it safe. You get braver by facing what scares you. Every great person, every disciplined warrior, every high-performing human has gone through pain. And they didn't just endure it, they welcomed it, because they knew that what came after was power, not the fake kind, the real kind, earned, fought for, built under pressure. Pain is not your enemy. It's your coach. It's the mirror that shows you who you really are. Not when things are easy, but when things are hard, when you're tired, when you want to quit. That's when the truth comes out. That's where the growth lives. Not in the comfort zone, in the chaos, in the challenge, in the grind. So stop avoiding the pain. Lean into it. Use it. Every drop of sweat, every early morning, every setback, let it sharpen you. Let it strip away what doesn't belong. Let it reveal the warrior underneath the weakness, because the pain you avoid today is the strength you'll never build tomorrow, and without that strength, you'll never reach your true potential. Pain is the gate. Growth is on the other side. Walk through it. Waiting for motivation is weakness. Motivation is fleeting, unreliable, and soft. It comes when it wants, disappears when it pleases, and leaves you stranded the moment things get hard. If you're waiting for motivation, you're waiting to lose. Because warriors don't rely on feelings, they rely on discipline. They act without permission from emotion. They move forward whether they feel like it or not. That's the difference between the committed and the comfortable. That's the difference between a doer and a dreamer. You see people chasing motivation like it's fuel, watching videos, reading quotes, scrolling for inspiration, but that's not how real results are built. Real results are born in the dark, when no one's watching, when it's cold, when you're tired, when everything in your body says stop. And you still move. You still execute, not because you're motivated, but because you said you would. That's discipline. That's power. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is intentional. The motivated man starts when he feels inspired. The disciplined man starts regardless. The motivated man needs a reason. The disciplined man needs a goal. The motivated man hopes. The disciplined man executes. And execution beats hope every single time. So if you're sitting around waiting for motivation to strike, understand this. You're giving your power away. You're letting your success depend on a feeling. That's weakness. That's fragility. That's not how warriors are built. Discipline doesn't care about your mood. Discipline doesn't wait for the stars to align. Discipline is brutal. It shows up at 5 a.m. It shows up when you're broken. It shows up when you're behind. It shows up in silence, and it demands action. No applause, no shortcuts, just relentless movement toward the mission. And the irony, the more you rely on discipline, the more consistent your motivation becomes, not the other way around. You want to feel motivated. Earn it, get up, move, start, sweat, bleed, sacrifice, push through one more set, one more rep, one more painful hour. Let your actions create the momentum, because motion creates emotion. Discipline creates pride. Pride creates purpose, and purpose will carry you far beyond the shallow bursts of motivation. Waiting is weakness. Start now, move now, whether you're ready or not, whether you feel it or not. Because if you only act when you feel motivated, you're at the mercy of your emotions. And emotions lie, but commitment, discipline, that's real, that's armor. That's how you separate yourself from the masses. Everyone wants to be something. Few are willing to be consistent when it's boring, painful, and thankless. That's your edge, so stop waiting. Kill the hesitation, kill the softness. Replace the dependency on motivation with the power of discipline. Show up every day, especially when it's hard. That's what makes you dangerous. That's what makes you unstoppable. Wasting time is wasting life. Time is the most valuable thing you will ever own, more than money, more than status, more than any possession. Because once time is gone, it never comes back. Every second that passes is a second you will never get again. And yet, most people throw it away like it's infinite. They scroll, they delay, they distract themselves with meaningless activity, they convince themselves they're taking a break or waiting for the right time. But what they're really doing is slowly burying their potential under hours of nothing. You don't get your life in years, you get it in moments, in days, in choices, and every day you waste is a day you could have been building. Every hour you lose to laziness or distraction is an hour you could have been sharpening your body, your mind, your mission. You don't rise by accident. You rise by what you do when nobody's watching, when there's no pressure, when it's just you and the clock. Most people don't feel the weight of time because they've never truly owned it. They treat it like it belongs to someone else, their boss, their schedule, their excuses. But when you finally realize that your life is made up of the time you choose to command or surrender, everything changes. You stop letting people steal it. You stop letting entertainment consume it. You stop giving away hours for nothing, because every wasted moment adds up, and eventually it adds up to a wasted life. You say you want success, then act like time matters, track it, master it, show up early, stay late, use your mornings like weapons, dominate your evenings with purpose. Cut out the noise, the nonsense, the endless distractions. You don't need more hours in the day. You need to stop wasting the ones you already have. Because here's the truth: time is indifferent. It doesn't care what you do with it, but your future will, your results will, your legacy will. You either use it like a weapon or let it slip through your fingers. Discipline is the tool that makes time count. Focus is the shield that guards it. Purpose is the fire that makes it burn brighter. If you waste time, you waste life. You throw away what could have been the strength, the clarity, the growth. No one is coming to give you more time. No one is going to hand you a better schedule. You already have everything you need, but you've got to move. You've got to decide that every second counts, that your life is too short for later, that your mission is too big for someday. Because wasting time is not just about losing minutes. It's about losing chances, losing potential, losing pieces of who you were meant to become. Don't let that happen. Guard your time like your life depends on it, because it does. Seeking validation is a distraction. It pulls your focus away from the mission and points it toward approval, toward applause, toward the opinions of others who don't live your life, fight your battles, or chase your goals. And every second you spend waiting for someone to tell you you're good enough, smart enough, strong enough is a second you could have been getting better, smarter, and stronger on your own. The need for validation is a weakness. It ties your self-worth to outside voices and makes your progress dependent on whether someone else notices it. You don't need likes, you don't need compliments, you don't need someone to clap when you do the work. The results are the reward, the discipline is the validation, the growth you see when no one's watching. That's where the power is. But if you're constantly chasing recognition, you'll never feel fulfilled. Because it's never enough. One compliment turns into a need for more. One nod of approval becomes a habit of dependency. It's a trap, and it kills focus. It kills hunger. It kills independence. Real strength is built in silence. Real warriors grind in the shadows. They don't need cameras. They don't need pats on the back. They don't need someone to say good job. They know it was a good job because they did it with effort, with consistency, with intent. That's internal validation, and it's the only kind that lasts, because the crowd will disappear. The applause will fade. The world will move on, and if your worth is tied to them, you'll collapse the moment they look away. Seeking validation distracts you from doing the work that actually matters. You start tailoring your actions to what others think. You start posting instead of performing. You start polishing your image instead of sharpening your edge. And eventually, your mission gets diluted. Your fire gets dimmed, and you become more concerned with perception than with progress. That's not power, that's paralysis. You want to win. Get rid of the need to be seen. Learn to validate yourself. Let the silence be your confirmation. Let the results speak for you. Let the discipline shape you. Every time you put in the work without telling the world, you get sharper. Every time you succeed in private, you get tougher. And every time you ignore the need for validation, you get closer to the real version of yourself. Don't let outside opinions dictate your internal value. Don't let praise determine your purpose. You were not built to be liked, you were built to be strong. And strength doesn't beg for attention. It commands respect through action, through consistency, through silence. When you kill the need for validation, you unlock a version of yourself that doesn't care what anyone thinks, because you know exactly who you are. That's freedom, that's discipline, that's focus. If you don't kill these habits, they will kill your mission. Habits are the building blocks of your life, your work, your legacy. Every day, every action, every choice feeds them. They grow quietly, invisibly, until one day they control you. And if those habits are excuses, procrastination, seeking comfort, avoiding pain, waiting for motivation, wasting time, or chasing validation, then they are slowly strangling your mission. They are the enemies in plain sight. The silent killers that dismantle everything you're trying to build. You might think these habits are small, minor weaknesses, temporary slips, but small things compound. Small leaks sink big ships. The problem is that you don't see the damage while it's happening. You feel fine, you say you'll fix it tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes, and what you lose is time, the one resource you cannot replace. Your mission suffers because you're not operating at your full capacity. You're holding yourself back, you're settling for less when you're capable of more. These habits rob you of energy, they drain your focus, they destroy your discipline. When procrastination wins, action loses. When comfort wins, growth loses. When excuses win, ownership loses. When you wait for motivation, progress stops. When you waste time, potential dies. When you seek validation, independence dies. And when independence dies, your mission dies too. Killing these habits means brutal honesty. It means looking in the mirror and admitting where you're weak. It means owning your failures and refusing to let them define you. It means building new routines that don't negotiate with weakness. It means setting clear standards and enforcing them with relentless discipline. Because discipline is the weapon that kills bad habits. Execution is the fire that burns them away. And consistency is the hammer that breaks their hold on you. You must understand that your mission is bigger than any excuse or distraction. It demands sacrifice. It demands pain. It demands discomfort. And if you keep allowing these habits to survive, you're choosing comfort over conquest. You're choosing weakness over strength. You're choosing failure over victory. That choice will come back to haunt you. So don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait until the damage is done. Act now. Cut these habits out of your life like a surgeon removing a tumor, because they're toxic. They're lethal, and they have no place in the life of a warrior. Remember, your mission is not a game. It's not optional. It's your purpose, your responsibility, your legacy. If you want to win, you have to win the war inside yourself first. And that war is against the habits that kill your mission. Kill them now. Or be killed by them later. The choice is yours.